my belly doesn't feel like it's like shoved up into my lungs anymore, and it feels like I have a lot more room to breathe. Big step. Big step. There we go. Ooh, this guy's looking really nice. Probably not quite ready, but it's looking good. Hello. Yeah, my strawberry starts were an utter failure. I showed them to my brother and he was like, can you like dig one up for me and let me look at it? And I showed it to him and he's like, oh yeah, that thing's been gone for a while. I was like, really? They came in the package looking like that? And he's like, yeah, they sold you dead starts. So I just went ahead and got some little mini plants to put in there. A little bit more expensive than the starts, but definitely not as expensive as the more established plants that we could have gotten. I'm just really excited about those strawberries that are already ripe because Kieran loves strawberries. It's one of his favorite fruits. And I'm kind of hoping, because strawberries here are so expensive, that if these plants are successful, then hopefully, you know, season after season, I won't have to buy them and I can just harvest them and, you know, my family can enjoy them. This is the part where I really wish I had like a nice squishy garden mat to put my knees on because this is not very comfortable. I have had a lot of people ask me about an update on how keto/carnivore is working out for the pregnancy. It is going to be a couple weeks before we do measure my fluid, but I have a really amazing update. So once I'm done planting these strawberries, I will tell you all about it because it's been amazing. Beautiful. I did a bunch of weeding out here. Trimmed a bunch of the old stuff off of this tomato plant and it is looking beautiful. It is just thriving out here. So to the people who were telling me do not move that plant, I'm not going to because it looks too happy right here and I don't want to risk killing it. Look at all these little tomatoes to be. It's gonna be delicious. Oh, look at that. My little yellow flowers are turning orange out here. Speaking of orange, Kieran actually has been trying to say orange lately. He says it like agage. And it's because like he has all these different colored blocks and I tell him like, that's the orange block, that's the blue block, can you get me the orange block, you know, etc., etc. And he would bring me the orange block and say agage, and it took me a second to realize, holy crap, he's trying to say orange. Just kind of a nice little proud mama moment because sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough, and just the fact that he came up and was trying to say such a difficult word it just really made me feel like I'm enough, you know what I mean? That's better. It's getting a little too sunny for my taste. Look at this. My eyes can be wide open. We joke about that, but that's actually why we really are not fans of the sun, because when it's overcast, we can actually have our eyes all the way open. If you've been cursed with light eyes, you know. Anyway, so all about Keto-carnivore. I'm just gonna preface this because I know that some people may not have heard in a few vlogs back that my MFM, my maternal fetal medicine specialist, wanted me to go on a keto/carnivore diet to see if it would lower the amniotic fluid index. My water did rupture at 26 weeks and 4 days with my son because I had idiopathic polyhydramnios, which means we don't know why. Like, I wasn't diabetic, there was no real like obvious cause because there was nothing wrong with my son or anything, so it was like, we don't know why. So my MFM, knowing that I was already doing a keto diet for the last 4 years, said, let's just do mostly meat. Let's see if cutting out that little bit of more carbs will change the fluid index enough that it's at a safer level, because my last growth scan, it was a very generous amount. It was 19 centimeters, and anything over 20 is considered polyhydramnios. So because excessive amniotic fluid was the cause of my PPROM, we just really want to try to make sure that doesn't happen again. It has been 2 weeks since I started the Keto-carnivore, and I say Keto-carnivore because I still do have a very limited amount of carbs. Like, I'm not just entirely meat. I don't think I could do that. But my level of carbs is very low, like lower than I would typically do with keto itself. Like, when I'm not pregnant, I do 20 to 25 grams of carbs, like total. And while pregnant, I bump that up to 100 because I just have always thought that, you know, babies need carbs, you know? So the MFM is like, yeah, let's take them down real low. So I don't even know how much I'm getting, but I know it's probably not even meeting 20 grams. We have another growth scan in a couple of weeks, so that would be 1 month on this diet that my doctor wants me to do to check to see if it affects my fluid levels. And I really think it has, because I feel so different after just 2 weeks. I feel incredible. Now, there are obviously some cons, like if you've ever been on the keto diet, you would know that it really kind of just kills your hunger. Like, I could have a keto meal and then I would be sustained for like 6 hours and just not feel hunger cues. Think of the carnivore version making that 10 times worse. So that is a con for me. I don't have any hunger cues, like, ever. I have to force myself to eat. I have to, like, I really should set timers to eat snacks and everything, because I could just get busy, you know, unmedicated ADHD. I could just go full hyper focus on something, and then I won't eat. And that's obviously not good. It also kind of feels like when I do force myself to eat at, you know, certain times, it feels like a chore. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm eating because I want to or because it's enjoyable. It just kind of feels like a mechanical thing where I'm like, all right, it's time to eat. So that is the major con for me. Everything else has been really great. The first one being that my belly does not feel as full as it did before. Obviously, I haven't lost any weight per se, but my belly doesn't feel like it's like shoved up into my lungs anymore, and it feels like I have a lot more room to breathe. I have not needed to wear my belly belt at all for the last week because my belly doesn't feel like super heavy and like it's not hurting my hips and everything. And some of that could be attributed to the fact that we're doing these daily walks of like, you know, 2-3 miles. So that's really helping my pelvic symphysis dysfunction. Like the, I don't know how to describe this because I'm not like a medical person, but like, you have the hormone relaxin and it's like relaxes your joints and everything. Well, for some reason in me, it relaxes it too much. And then the pubis symphysis joint will sort of like move out of place, and it really hurts, and you get like a lot of grinding and clicking and everything. So once my belly started getting bigger, that got worse, obviously. My chiropractor told me just keep walking, and it'll help, and it has been helping. So I don't know if it's necessarily the Keto-carnivore doing it or the walking doing it. It's probably both, but I feel fantastic. I like my puffiness in my limbs, any sort of puffiness in my legs or my feet or even my face, I feel like has gone down. I feel like I have more energy. I don't feel like energy highs and lows. I just feel very, very sustained all day long. Yeah, I feel like I'm able to do a lot more physically this time, and I feel a lot healthier during this pregnancy than I have in my past 2 pregnancies. Trying to use my window as a mirror, but I feel like the belly is not like up here, up into my lungs anymore. It just feels like, I mean, obviously there's still a nice substantial belly there, but it doesn't feel like it's making it harder for me to breathe. So I don't know, I kind of feel like the fluid levels are lower, and if they're not, at least, you know, any general puffiness has gone down and I feel a lot less taxed. If that makes sense. So yeah, that's the update on the keto/carnivore journey while pregnant. I think it's going well, and I guess we'll see in a couple of weeks what my MFM says. So right now, as of yesterday, we are 26 weeks, and in a couple of days we're going to be the gestation where my water broke with my son. And so I've been having a little bit of anxiety about that. It actually took me a while to realize that PPROM was another trauma that I experienced. It took you guys telling me, and it took my MFM telling me, yeah, you've had a really traumatic obstetric history. Like, you are, you know, it's understandable that it's hard mentally. That being said, I think rationally that I don't think anything like PPROM's gonna happen again. I've been taking my vitamin C every day. I'm doing everything that my doctors are suggesting me to do. So I especially feel different than I did with Kieran. I felt like I was so much bigger, and even Kameron mentioned that I looked so much bigger in the stomach around this gestation with Kieran. So I'm really hoping that everything's working, and, you know, we don't relive that trauma. I remember thinking it couldn't possibly be a form of trauma because I had already experienced a full-term stillbirth. How could anything else be traumatic? But I guess it was, because I'm sitting here anxious that we're 26 weeks. You know? It's so crazy to think about. Like, just saying I'm 26 weeks, that means we're 2 weeks away from the 3rd trimester. And then after that, it's like 2 months. Like, we're in March. I'm gonna be having a baby in May. That's insane.